Welcome back to my video series where I teach you how to fly an FPV, freestyle, racing, acro, drone, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to teach you how to fly it. This video is one in a series. So if it feels like you've dropped in the middle of a conversation, that's why. There is a link in the video description below to the full playlist for the whole series. And if you're looking to learn from the beginning, that's where you should start. But if you're here for the topic of today's video, then let's get into it. In this lesson, we are going to introduce an acrobatic maneuver that we kind of, sort of, almost started introducing in the last lesson, but didn't. And it is the power loop. Let me show you what a power loop is. And I'm going to do the coolest kind of power loop, which is one where you go through an obstacle. We'll get there. So a power loop happens when you fly underneath an obstacle, and then you pitch back and climb and make a loop over the obstacle. And then technically, to make it a true power loop, you go back through the obstacle. And really good power loops are nice and tight to the obstacle. And maybe you can even see it coming up on you. Whoa, that was too much. That was too close. Maybe you can even see it coming up on you, underneath you. Like a really good power loop. Nope, that was a messed up power loop. I didn't go back enough. Well, we'll talk about that too. I'm trying to tighten it up so it can look really cool for you guys. Whoa. Oh, didn't quite make it. Need more back. Didn't fling myself back hard enough. Oh, right into the wall. Well, there's a lot of ways that power loops can go wrong, and I'm demonstrating them for you now while trying to get a... Yes, that was a good one. That was so nice and tight. I just barely didn't clip the edge, and not enough back. Too much up, not enough back. I got one really good one. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Give him a good one. Whew. More back. Oh, didn't see the building. I really want to see the building through the whole thing. There. Oh, I got the far edge. You can see the far edge, but not the near edge. Nope. Okay, well, I'm going to stop trying to get a perfect power loop and start teaching you guys how to do any power loop. And in order to do that, we are going to just find a nice open area. The level we're on here is the green. Ooh, this little area here is pretty good. We're just going to fly forward at ground level. No problem. We're going to raise throttle and start to climb. And as we do that, we're going to pitch back. And we're going to come all the way around with pitch back. And we're just going to come out going the same direction that we came in. Now, there's something about a power loop that I want you to know, and that is that your throttle management is very important. We previously introduced the idea that when you are upside down, you need to not be on the throttle because you'll be pulling yourself down toward the ground. So think about the power loop. As I come around, I'm at the 3 o'clock position, okay? And I'm at 90 degrees-ish, and I'm pulling myself up and back. And as I come over the top, oops, you can't see. As I come over the top at the 2 or the 1 o'clock position, I'm going to need to be off my throttle because now I'm inverted and I'm pulling myself down. So a big part of getting power loops is managing where your thrust is in terms of where you are in the circle. So start trying to get a sense of where you are in the circle, okay? So, and it's hard because you don't really have a visual reference most of the time. So here I am, I'm at the 6 o'clock, I'm at the bottom of the circle, and as I come up, here's roughly 3 o'clock, here I'm inverted, I'm at 12 o'clock, here's roughly 9 o'clock, and I'm back at 6 o'clock, okay? And as I come around to the 1 or 2 o'clock, as I am inverted, I want to be off the throttle. And what's going to happen is that the momentum I set up as I started the move is going to carry me over the top. So to do a power loop, there needs to be some sort of fling backwards. So, for example, I could be flying forward. I'm going to start a power loop, but I'm not going to finish it. And I'm going to go like this. And do you see that I have almost no backwards? I'm almost straight up. Okay? So I need to have more push backwards like we did in the exercise where we tried to stop on a dime, okay? I need to arrest my forward movement and get some upward and backwards movement. And now you see I was going backwards at the top there as I came over the top. I'm going to push myself backwards and off the throttle. And now you can see I was going backwards. But if I mess this up, I'm going to go up. And when I flip over, I'm just moving up or down. I'm not going backwards. And that's not a power loop. That's something else. So let's give you a way to start to approach this, and break it down piece by piece. You've done a split S, where you go over an obstacle and you flip over and you fly back underneath it. We're going to do something kind of like that. What we're going to do is we're going to do a half power loop over this obstacle. We're going to fly under the tree, we're going to throttle up, and we're going to want to come back over the tree. And that's going to kind of get us started with a power loop. And there's various ways you're going to screw it up. You saw me do it at the beginning. Maybe you're going to cut it too tight and you're going to go into the branches. Okay? So if you're cutting it too tight and going into the branches, what you need to do is pitch back less, which will make a wider circle. So if I pitch back too much, it will pull that circle tight and I will go into the branches. But if I pitch back just a little bit, the circle will be wider and I will come back over the top of the tree. So one of the variables is how far you pitch back, and one of the variables is how much throttle you give. If I pitch back very gently and I don't give enough throttle, I won't climb very much and I'll end up just kind of flopping out of it. But we want to work on finding a throttle position and an amount of pitch back so we go over the tree. And then we'll just keep pitching back until we level back out again. There's no rush. Okay. You can also, you don't need to use the tree. The tree is just to kind of give you a sense of if you're moving backwards. We can also do these out in the open, and we want to try to make them just smooth circles. I'm going to start. I'm going to come over the top. I'm going to keep pitching back and finish that move and come on the throttle as we get down and catch myself gently. And what you may see, I feel myself doing it, is at the very top, at the very last minute before I drop throttle, I'm giving myself a little bump on the throttle. And the idea there is that as I'm coming over the top, I kind of want to make sure I get some backwards movement, so I don't just kind of go thump, thump. I want to go back over the top, and I'm giving a little push there. It's tough because the move is basically blind because you're staring at the sky. But you can just keep playing with your throttle timing and the amount of pitch back, and just keep working on getting this nice circle. Now, in addition to the shape of the circle, we also need to be thinking about our altitude. So what if we were to line up next to this tree and we were to do a power loop sort of beside the tree? We're going to come up and out. And I'm going to use the top of that tree as a guide. I'm kind of looking at the right side of my screen to use the top of that tree as a guide for the shape and height of my power loop. This is actually something I did in real life back when I was learning power loops, was line up next to a tree, it could be on the left or the right side, and use it to gauge the shape and height of my power loops. So here I can kind of see, oops, I'm going to hit the tree there. That's not good. Here I can kind of see how high I am. Eventually you will develop the skill of gauging your height without looking. So here I've got these trees, right? And I'm going to do a power loop back over these trees. And I want to make sure that I have cleared the trees by the time I push back over the top. So if I don't climb enough, I will push myself back into the trees. And in the simulator, it's very forgiving, but in real life, you'll sort of crash into the treetop. So at the beginning, you're going to want to be very generous and climb for a good long time. And you'll get these power loops to the moon because you're not confident yet. Big climb, gentle pitch back, lots of height, big open circle. Still pretty impressive. Your mom's going to be so proud of you. But then you can begin to tighten it up and judge how high I am. So here, I'm looking to either side. I can see right here, I can see these branches. And I can see the branches on the other side. And I can judge when it's time for me to pitch back and make that little punch to propel myself back over the top. Little punch to propel myself back over the top. And I have visual reference the whole time, which is really cool. It's very helpful to have that visual reference and know where and be able to judge what I'm doing. But even if I don't have that visual reference, I can kind of have a guess of how high I need to go to clear this tree. And part of the way that I'm doing that is I'm looking past this tree. I'm looking past this tree at the next one. Well, they're about the same height, right? So when am I safe to go back? About now. Ooh, it was a little taller than I expected, but it still worked out. Right, I'm looking at this next tree and I'm judging, okay, I'm over the top now. I'm ready to do that pushback. But in the beginning, what I'll do is I'll start very generous and very tall. I go, okay, that was fine. And then I'll start to tighten it up a little bit and pitch back a little more and push a little harder with the throttle a little sooner and make that circle smaller. And I'll just start to get a feel for how small I can make that circle before oh no, bail out. Okay. So let's talk about the next thing, which is the bailout when it goes wrong. When it goes wrong, well, if you go too high, that's not a problem, right? If I go too high, oh, I'm so high in the air. That's not a problem. I just have to find a safe spot to come down. But, you know, like, the only problem with going too high is that you look like a noob, right? You don't look as cool as you could. But if you come up too short, what's going to happen is I'm going to end up looking into the tree canopy upside down. And I'm going to be like, what do I do? I'm about to go into this tree. And what you do is you pitch back and level out to stop the move. Basically, so let me see if I can get a good short one that goes wrong. Ooh, this tree looks promising. This is a big bushy tree. It'll work for me. So here I am. I'm about to go into the tree canopy. I'm just going to level out. I waited a second too long. At that moment where you look underneath you and you see you're not going to make it, you level back out again by pitching back. Oh, and you try and get the sky right side up, and you try and just fly out of it. So just bail out like that. So there's going to be a moment where I decide to bail out. Here I am. Oh no, I don't like this. I'm bailing out. And now I'm just flying away. So just finish the move early and bail out. As soon as you're right side up, get on that throttle. No, I don't like this. I'm not going to make it. Okay, now I'm good. Oh, I just barely made it. I could tell I was going to make that one. I could see that I was clear of it. You'll start to get a judgment for whether you're clear of the obstacle or whether you need to bail out. And then sometimes you get it wrong. Nope, not going to make... Oh, just barely made it. I found a hole. Oh, I found a hole in the canopy. I could sneak through. I just barely made it over. That was kind of cool. No problem. Clear. Tighten it up. Tighten it up. So wide. You couldn't even see the tree through that move. That's not interesting. You see the canopy. There we go. Trace that canopy. Whee! Oh, no, I gotta bail. So one of the questions you might be wondering is, when you bail out, why do I say to bail out with pitch as opposed to roll? And the answer is that you're already pitching back, and if you just put the horizon right side up, it's pretty easy to recover. Whereas if you roll, now you're inverted and you're rolling, and it's a little hard to just get things right. But you can roll out of it though, and a roll is more graceful because it continues the move. So when I bail out with pitch, I arrest the move. I stop and interrupt the move, and that doesn't look cool. But if I bail out with roll, here's what it looks like. So that one, I need to make it tighter. No, oh, make it tighter. So if I bail out with roll, here's what it looks like. Tighten it up, Bardwell. Find a bigger stand of trees. So if I bail out with roll, here's what it looks like. So I can sort of roll and keep the move going. Right? It doesn't necessarily look great, depending on how well I do it. But if I use roll, it's easier to kind of make it look intentional and make it look like I just decided to leave the move in a different way. See, now I rolled out of it. We're just going to keep going this way. And here we go. We start a power loop. Oh, I'm too close to the canopy. Whee! No, I meant to do that. See, I just rolled over right side up to give myself just a little bit of extra altitude and then keep the move going. But rolling over is tricky because we have to also adjust. See, if I just roll over with roll, I'm not going to be pitched the way I want, so I'm also constantly having to adjust with pitch. And it's a 2-axis move. As I roll out of it, I'm also kind of pitching a little bit to make me have the right pitch angle, and it's trickier. Whereas if I bail out with pitch, then all I have to do is just pitch. A great way to work power loops is to load up this level. This is the woodpecker, and it's got this giant antenna structure in it. And the reason this is so useful is that if we fly adjacent to this, we can actually have a visual reference for the whole power loop. So here I'll fly forward, and then I'll begin to pitch back, and then I'll pitch back, and I can just see the exact shape of my power loop as I'm doing it, because I've got this visual reference here. And I can tell exactly where I am at 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, etc. It's not great for judging height, because it's so big that you could there's no reference point for exactly how high you are. But it's great for judging shape of the power loop. And I'm just looking off the left side of the screen and just doing these power loops and working on them. You can do it from ground level. We go up. Don't try to go all the way to the top. That'll be an enormous power loop. But you'll just have a very, very good sense of where you are. Am I at 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock? Yeah, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock. No, I could have gone back further. That wasn't very round. It was more of a teardrop. Okay, it was a really good exercise. Wee. Make sure you're pushing yourself back. Make sure you're not... See, I'm just kind of doing a loop-de-loop in the air. I'm not really doing a power loop. Kind of like a curly Q. That's not a power loop. We gotta push ourselves back and make a circle. Okay, well, your final challenge for today's lesson is to power loop the building, just like I was doing at the beginning. We're gonna fly through the bottom, and we're gonna power loop up and bonk over the top. You're gonna need to judge, because you really don't have a visual reference. It's just gonna be a feel thing. You're gonna need to judge how high you need to get before you pitch back and pop over the top. Ooh, I just barely made that. And you can do some of that by looking in the distance at the horizon. I'm using the trees in the distance and the horizon to judge my altitude, and I'm going to guess when it's safe for me to pop and punch back and pop over. And then I can try to tighten it up. If I get pretty solid at doing it, I get a feel for how I can do it, I can try and tighten it up and make it tighter and make it more impressive. It's too tight. Oh, that was a good one. That was nice and tight. Oh, that was right into it. This is honestly one of my favorite moves. It's like not that hard to start to get good at it compared to a lot of other things. Oh, that's the best one. Oh, that was the best one. We're going out on that one, folks. Oh, wait, this one was even better. Whoo! Oh, I'm getting the timing now. Ah, too close. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for this one. I'll see you on the next one. Playlist in the video description.